This is west of Everest. Sunday morning, one day after Oklahoma goes into Tuscaloosa and knocks off Alabama 23-21. I am Lee Benson, joined by Grant Benson. Incredibly fun, exciting game on Saturday. Oklahoma, for the second game in a row, goes into hostile territory in the SEC and beats a really good football team. Surprising. It certainly could have happened, but the way Oklahoma played, the way it played out is incredibly exciting and awesome. And now Oklahoma's 8-2 and is still playing super important football going into the meat of November. Grant, good morning.
Good morning. Dun 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 dun
Oh my God.
dun 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 dun. Let's go, huh? How about that? It's hard to get into it. Just like we're gonna get into just like the actual game and everything and all of the things that needed to happen for them to win this game. I don't care. Whatever. Great win. What a great win. And I think you gotta first and foremost just give the flowers to the defense, which I thought had 3 or 4 pretty rough drives in the game, but other than that was nails against an offense that I thought played pretty well. Alabama probably played their best game on offense in the SEC, considering the competition so far this season. And OU's defense made the plays when they needed to. Fun win. Maybe I was just kind of thinking back, maybe one of the more bizarre wins that I can remember in since I've been following the team over the course of a quarter of a century. And it couldn't have come at a better time. It's been a while. Like I've been saying, OU is due for just a win that they just sort of pull out of their butt. And because it's been a really long time since OU has won a game like that. It's got to be over a decade. And they're able to do it, and it couldn't have come at a better time. What a fun game.
Yeah, the tone was set early. I mean, the defense came out and did an excellent job on the first 2 possessions and really put Alabama behind the sticks. And then even on the third possession for Alabama, that was the Eli Bowen pick 6. So, 3 possessions for Alabama and no points for them. And then and really on that drive, Alabama was starting to kind of cook a little bit, and then Oklahoma turned them away. It's great because, well, there's a lot of things. I know that I got a bunch of likes and dislikes, but it's not full because I haven't had a chance to really put them all together. I know you mentioned before we started recording that you thought it might be fun to kind of go through the game, and I mean we can start at the beginning if you want, and that can. And by the way, we do have 3-word reviews, and after a game like that, we will read them today on the show, on the West of Everest Facebook page, and also from Twitter X. And yeah, I mean, you and I both did not pick them to win the game, and it was simply, hey, we got to see it to believe it. I mean, they already beat Tennessee. Can you imagine them going in for a second straight game against a better team on the road, in Tuscaloosa and winning? I mean, it was unlikely. I mean, they were 6.5, 6 point. I think it might have closed at 6.5 dogs, and Oklahoma was not expected to win that football game, and they did. So, I mean, that's awesome. That is terrific, and Oklahoma played really good football for much of that game. And you mentioned you thought it might have been Alabama's best offensive performance given the competition in the SEC. From what I saw, Alabama's offense, that was kind of what they are. I mean, and really it was actually not as good because they turned the ball over. And that Oklahoma gets a lot of credit for that because Ty Simpson missed some throws. And he has not missed a lot of throws this year. And the only reason why I can think of is Oklahoma's defense got in his head a little bit and sped him up a bit.
Oh, he was. I think when you go back and watch the replays, well, especially like the sky cam views, he sped up the entire game. I mean, his feet are super choppy in the pocket. I mean, you can tell that he is like the internal clock in his head was like, okay, I gotta be a tick faster on everything here. And I thought it was funny, especially in the second half. And funny, maybe not the right word, but there started to become like you could tell there was a chess match. Alabama got deep into the play clock a lot in this game in the second half of checking to one thing. Okay, seeing what Venables is doing to check and then go. And there were a lot of instances, especially I think the best version of it, you can see it was the Davon Jordan sack where it was just constantly check, check. And then Venables got the last laugh on that one. I mean, Simpson was completely confused on that. And there were numerous instances of that over the course of the game. And so I just, fun game. It's going to be a fun game to kind of go back and rewatch in the coming months just to see. Because I do think like there was a genuine chess match going on. It was a lot of fun to watch. So I don't know. I think we should just go drive chart, just drive by drive, just because so much stuff happened in the game, and I think a lot of it was situational. And it's all like when I was rewatching the game this morning, there was some things that happened where I was like, oh, I remembered that happening at a different time in the game, and so they would just be helpful to go drive by drive. So let's kick it off. Let's do this thing. Alabama went 3-and-out first drive of the game.
Yeah, and that was an excellent opening series. I mean, they got him into third down. OU's defense got Alabama into third down, and it looked like OU was playing like a cover 4, and everyone was reading Simpson's eyes in the back end, and everyone was aware of the receivers, and everyone was aware of the zones in which they were supposed to cover. It was really good coverage on the back end, and then Marvin Jones Jr. brought Simpson down. So from the beginning, I thought the coverage was really nice. And for the most part, throughout the game, with the exception of the middle portions of the first half and then maybe early on in the third quarter, the secondary played pretty well. And I think that's the best highly schemed, best quarterback, best passing offense they're going to face. And Oklahoma's defense in the secondary, I was a bit worried going into halftime because they were starting to get shredded. And there was only really one series after halftime for Alabama where they looked pretty darn good. But the rest of the game from after that series, Oklahoma's defense, secondary played really, really good football and did exactly what they needed to do in a game in which Oklahoma's offense was just, Oklahoma's offense, not all that great. So, yeah, great start. And how about Isaiah Satania, after the opening series, explosive punt return, 43-yard return that set up Oklahoma deep in Alabama territory.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I don't think a lot of people expected OU's offense to come into this game and just light it up. And so I thought that's why it was much more, it was extremely important that OU sort of was able to find hidden yardage and just bang, bang from the start. You have a big special teams play. So damn, he gets hit like on the return. Guy doesn't wrap up. He stays up, and then he's just got a lot of room to operate. And so I thought that really did set the tone for the game. I mean, you get your first quick 3-and-out, and then you're making a special teams big play right away. And then, hey, not even that, but very first snap of the game for OU is an 18-yarder on an RPO to Burks. Kind of like and you and I on our rewatch of Washington State last year, that's an RPO that Washington State hit constantly a season ago, which in SEC play, that RPO has not been available really at all. And so it was good to see them hit that. And they tried to go back to it a couple of times in the game, and Alabama wasn't having any of it. But so that was good to see. You're already deep into Alabama territory. You got a 3-and-out. You've only snapped the ball once, and you're already in scoring territory, which is a big deal. It would have been nice for OU to cap it off with a touchdown there. But we'll get into that. They weren't able to do that. I mean, Alabama's defense is good. We talked about that on the midweek show about how Alabama is really good at not allowing touchdowns even when you get deep into their territory, and that definitely reared its head in this game. So it was Mateer 18-yarder, then a 4-yard run for Xavier on first down, and then it was just another little short pass to Burks over the middle on third down, and then Mateer tried to hit Giovanni Gibson on like a little 6-yard out that he overthrew. Even if it was an accurate throw, I think Gibson probably would have been short of the sticks. And so, I mean, they snapped it 4 times on that drive. So I don't really think there's much to glean there. But I do think that OU's first drive looked a lot like the rest of their drives during the game. They only went 3-and-out twice in this game, but for whatever reason, they were still, even when the offense got the ball, which wasn't often in this game, they were able to at least get one first down and at least possess the ball for a while. And I think the first thing that's what happened on this on their first drive too.
Yeah, I was disappointed they could put it in the end zone. They tried to hit the back shoulder to Giovanni, and just a bad throw for Mateer on third down. but they scored and they got 3-0, and then the defense came out on the next possession as well. And I mean, Kip Lewis right off the bat on first down, sack Simpson, and I mean they're immediately Bama's immediately behind the chains yet again. And the next play, Eli Bowen playing really physical football. He comes up and blows up. They try to swing it out, do a wide receiver screen. Bowen blows it up, takes the blocker away, and allows Owen Heineke to come up and make a unabated tackle on the receiver. And for another TFL, and it was 3rd and 18. And so Oklahoma's defense just came out and set the tone right away. And it was that 3rd and 18 deep shot to Ryan Williams where I thought Cortland Guillory, you watched the replay, he covered it well. And if anything, Williams, he was kind of grabbing and tugging on Cortland's jersey. And there was no flag, nothing happened, incomplete pass. And so good to see that. Good to see Cortland Guillory, who's really coming into his own. Nice job there. So back-to-back 3-and-outs. And it was really good to see that early on, no doubt.
Yeah, and we got Kip Lewis with the sack on first down, the very first play of that drive. So Lee, I listened to your post-game hit on the franchise last night, and you had said that if you had to pick anybody for the player of the game, you picked Kip Lewis. And I think I agreed with you. I thought Kip Lewis was, and I think there were 3 guys on the defense who you could have really, chosen from, Kip Lewis being one of them, Taylor Wein and Eli Bowen being the other 2. Who I just thought were just great in the game. And Kip, I thought, to me, and I know you've said this season that he's been having like sort of a quiet season. I can see why you say that, but like also whenever I watch OU's defense, I'm always just like I'm not so sure Kip Lewis isn't the best player on their defense. I've thought that pretty much all season. And he's great. They lose something when he's not out there. Not that it's like a massive drop off. Heineke has been good. Omasigo's been good this season too. But Kip Lewis just sort of adds a different dimension. The guy just makes plays, and setting the tone there with that sack on that first drive. And going back, yeah, that non-PI call, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's Cortland Guillory being rewarded for turning his head and trying to find the ball. For sure. And, there's hand fighting. That's one of those things live when I was watching it. I was thinking, I think they probably, in the old Big 12 days, when we were coming, I think they probably throw that for DPI in the old Big 12 days. And in the SEC, I don't think so. There's a lot of hand fighting going on there. And I thought that was good coverage by Cortland Guillory on Ryan Williams. Hey, this just popped into my head. Ryan Williams' body language is terrible. It's terrible. And in my head, I'm thinking, is he maybe start tampering with this guy? Is he maybe a transfer portal possibility for Alabama? His body language sucks.
No thanks. If he can't figure it out with Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb, and what's he gonna do in OU's offense? Like it's just so maybe that's a person. He's a good player. Jeremy Bernard is. Clearly yesterday. Ty Simpson was throwing to Bernard all the time, and Bernard, I think he had a drop or 2. I think Oklahoma gets credit for that as well. How about just random before we get back? How about and this didn't end up not mattering, but how about Ty Simpson's just airmailing of Bernard, who was wide open in the middle of the field in like the second quarter, but then the very next snap was the touchdown pass to the tight end where he was wide open over the middle of the field. So it didn't matter, but I just thought that was bizarre. I had not seen Simpson miss a throw that badly all season long.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess, and I'm lower on Ty Simpson than you are. And I think Ty Simpson's a good player. I think he's a good player, but like, I think he's like technically a good player. I don't think he's like obscenely talented. And when I see him miss throws like that, in my head, I'm just like, yeah, college quarterbacks miss throws like that multiple times a game all the time. And
no,
so, like,
not that. He was right in the middle of the
he,
field with nobody around him, wide open, and Simpson was just staring him down the barrel. And that's an easy throw. It reminded me of old 10, 12 years ago when we'd watch the SEC and we complained about, man, why can't the Big 12 have quarterbacks like they have in the SEC or just who can't hit the broadside of a barn? That's what that reminded me. I was like, oh, this is back when we're watching old SEC when guys had 60, 59% completion percentages and just would miss wide open dudes.
Well, even then, I said on the midweek that Alabama was due a lot of bad luck because they had been a really lucky team coming into this game. And we'll get to it when we get to sort of like our post game thoughts. But I think that sort of is what plagued Alabama in this game. They did not make a lot of plays that they had been making this season, like in super high leverage situations, and we'll get to that. So Alabama punts after that 3 and out, and then OU has a classic 6-play 4-yard drive where they only gained 4 yards technically, but yet they still take up 4 minutes of game time. And so I got to look at this. So it started with Xavier.
I believe that was the
4-yarder.
series. That was a series, I believe, where the Caden Helms illegal blindside block derailed everything.
You're right. It was. And you know what? That to me, okay, so I don't really know how you call that. I guess to me, if you had to put a gun to my head and say it, that seems pretty soft to me. But also,
I mean, clearly it's a rule. I mean, the stupid Matt Austin guy was like, "Yep." Or Sean McDonough mentioned that Matt Austin was nodding his head in agreement. Apparently, you can't do that. I think you could do it at some point, but they've legislated it out of the game. I mean, that reminds me. I was talking to Brady. Brady came over and watched the game, and Matt, our friend Matt, and I remember back in high school. I mean, part of being a corner, we would have to yell out and tell our linebackers, like, if there was a crack block coming, like crack, like, because the receiver would come in and try to crack without the linebacker seeing it because they were looking towards the field. And so I guess crack blocks are just out of the game now. I mean, I suppose we should probably know that, but here's a more interesting thing about that derailed the drive.
I'm kind of curious, just like how often I feel like there's blocks like that on a pretty consistent basis.
Yeah, there may be a harsh edit. I guess we were having some technical difficulties. I think that was on my end, so I apologize. I know before things started going wonky, I was talking about, I think it was OU's second possession, Mateer on 2nd and long with just 3-man rush, and he bails on the pocket way too quick. And it's just, he had plenty of time. He had 5 offensive linemen blocking against 3 guys. He could just sit back there and see if any of his players get open. I know, obviously, Bama dropped 8, but it's just, and Mateer ended up leaving the pocket too early, scrambled, got nothing, and then ended up getting like 6 or 7 yards to Satania and then punting. So it's just, it plays to Mateer still, like, really would like him to be a little bit more savvy within the pocket and kind of understand, because he's been in this offense for a long time. And it just, to me, it tells me, Grant, he was hurt, but it's been a while since he was hurt. And the competition's just so much better than he had seen before. And it is. I mean, these teams are playing are great, good defenses. So just wanted to point that out. I found that to be pretty interesting rewatching the tape.
I think that's, there's that, because there are also some opportunities for the remainder of the game that I thought, for him to escape the pocket and run with a lot of room, that he didn't really take in this game as well. I'm not saying it happened all the time. I'm saying like there were like 2 or 3 opportunities that he could have done that. And so, yeah, I'm not sure what it is, because you're right. He's been in the offense for a long time, and maybe it has to do with there's been a lot of injuries at receiver since spring. And so maybe it's like you watch him at Washington State a season ago. Yes, the competition is way worse, but I also think he probably had a lot more chemistry with those receivers. And because it's not an offensive line issue. Like, pass protection in this game again was borderline terrific. He had all day to throw, I thought, for the most part, and he only got sacked once, and it was in the third quarter. It was on like a designed rollout, which he didn't throw it away, and he got sacked for he tried to run with it, and he got sacked for a loss of 1. So that was really the only issue there. But I take your point. So they punt away, and this is kind of the first drive where Alabama starts to find a little bit of something. I saw it was like on the TV broadcasts. They were like, Alabama hasn't gone 3 and out on 3 consecutive possessions in like 9 years. And and of course, the very first play is a 17-yarder to Jeremy Bernard. And I was like, that's kind of like that throw. That is Alabama's offense. That's like their bread and butter, is finding Jeremy Bernard like on a little like deep comeback route like that over the middle of the field.
I mean, they're all over the tape. And I mean, it was really well drawn up. And yeah, they love doing that.
But I also thought it's like you actually do get a really good view of it when they show the sky cam footage. And this is actually Ty Simpson's the best part of his game, like the most advanced part of his game. And they called it out on the broadcast a lot. He is really good with his eyes. Like he does a very good job of getting defenders to move with his eyes and then coming back to where he actually wants to go. And so like when I say that Ty Simpson is technically is a very good quarterback. I just think his tools, physical tools, leave quite a bit to be desired. I don't, but we'll kind of get more into that. But good play by Alabama. That's one of those where good player, good offense, good receiver. On that, you're just like tip your cap. That's gonna happen. Like it's a good offense. They're gonna hit on some of those. And so after that, Bama's just sort of driving down the field a little bit. This is kind of when Daniel Hill started to sort of establish himself a lot more. And we saw a lot more Daniel Hill than we did Jam Miller in this game. And I watched Daniel Hill and I'm just like, even down to the number, I was like, that guy is essentially Trey Sermon. That's who that guy is.
Yeah, I mean, he'd been playing a lot more of late, so clearly he's kind of taken over Jam Miller's role. And really what this comes out, I mean, this is the series where Oklahoma looks like they make a big play, force a fumble, but then Kobe McKenzie inexplicably does not recover it, goes out of bounds forward. They review it. They called it incomplete on the field. They reviewed it, and they did say it was a fumble. And then the very next play, though, it ended up not mattering because Eli Bowen picked off Simpson, took it to the house, and that was such a fun play.
Before we get to that, though, it was a fun play because it was a really good defensive play because it was a play in which OU confused Alabama up front with their pressure looks. And then the reason why the throw is off is because Kip Lewis comes through unmolested. He's a free runner at the quarterback, thus having to speed Ty Simpson up. But I do want to go back to that fumble because based off of our understanding, and I haven't seen anybody else bring this up, OU got a break on that overturned fumble. They did. And I think the refs missed it, and we talked about this. So Daniel Hill fumbles a really great play by Reggie Powers, just boom, a hit stick right on him. Right, his helmet right on the ball pops forward. Kobe McKenzie can't recover. Yeah, a very odd thing. And the ball ends up going like, what was it, like nearly 15 yards forwards? I mean, it was like they gained a lot of yards on that play. And based on my understanding of it, once they go back and they review it and they confirm that it was a fumble, the ball should have gone back to where he fumbled it. Alabama should not have been awarded a first down on that play. You can't fumble the ball forward and gain yards. And so I thought that was like the pick six is the very next play. Is it totally different if Alabama is in like third and 5 or something like that instead of 1st and 10? They probably have a different play call.
Wait, so you're saying that Oklahoma got a break there? Because that's Alabama got a break because they got a free first down.
Yeah, I'm saying it in the sense that changed the game script, and that led to OU's pick six on the next play. I'm saying like on a third and medium, is Alabama calling a different play?
Oh, okay, yeah. Because what you're saying, yeah, I mean the ball was fumbled. It was fumbled forward like, I don't know, like 8 or 9 yards. It was enough for a first down. And it went out of bounds at the 23-yard line, which is where they gave Alabama the ball. Yeah, it's whenever they came back from commercial and Alabama had a first down, I was very confused because you can't fumble the ball forward, as far as I know, and benefit from that. Because I don't know if Alabama really officially recovered it.
Okay, so this is actually oddly the ESPN drive chart has like a really good explanation of it here. And so it says that the ball was thrown to Daniel Hill at the OU 35, and that is where, and so it was, at the time, it was 2nd and 3 from the OU 30. So the ball was fumbled at the 35-yard line, and the ball went out of bounds forward at the OU 23. So the ball went forward 12 yards. And so they actually, okay. And so what, on in terms of like net yardage, Alabama gained 7 yards on it, and they get first down. But they shouldn't have. They should not. The ball should have gone back to the OU 35, and it should have been 3rd and 8.
And so it looks like they did credit the officials. They credited with Brooks, the receiver Brooks, of recovering the fumble in bounds at the 23, which then they gave them the first down, the forward progress, which I mean, maybe it's a rule weird because Oklahoma touched it, because McKenzie touched it or something, and then therefore it was technically a live ball. I guess I don't have it up here.
Yeah, I think I would like, and maybe that's what it was. That was sort of but whatever, it doesn't matter. Like it's the football gods were smiling down on OU, and then of course that leads to the Eli Bowen pick six, which is an awesome play. Awesome play. It's by far, and also like I thought this too. That's by far like the most athletic Eli Bowen has ever looked. I feel like he can run a little bit. It's like you very rarely actually get to see him run in the open field, because he had that pick last year deep in Alabama territory, and he was ran down like pretty quickly by the Alabama wide receivers. This time around, he had some giddy up on him, I thought.
Yeah, it was cool, and I noticed something on that play that I want to point, because you mentioned Kip Lewis, and might as well do it. I'm going to share my screen.
Nice. Here we go.
Oh, nope, this is not the right screen. Hold on. How do I share a different one? I'm going to get rid of this.
This is excellent podcasting for everybody who is listening and not watching.
Nope, I panicked, and I actually have the right one up, so never mind. What I'll just say, maybe we can do it later for a different play, but I think on the play, Alabama's offense, the play actually backfired on them here, because I do believe it's a twin set to the boundary, and the running back, Daniel Hill, ends up going in motion across the formation, and he was in the slot, and Kip Lewis was lined up opposite of the right tackle. And once that motion man happens, you can see Kip. I don't know if this was going to be the play no matter what, or if the motion man signaled to him that with one fewer player on that side of the formation, then that signaled to Kip that he could blitz and go after the quarterback, because there was only one eligible receiver on the boundary side of the weak side of the formation. So it told me, because Kip starts to move as he notices Hill going across in motion. So it could have been the check for him, is like, hey, if there's no other player over here, and if there's just one eligible receiver and there's the quarterback, you go. And that's exactly what happened. And that's what led to Simpson getting sped up and making the quicker throw. So I found that to be pretty interesting, because that is a thing. I mean, there are situations where certain motions, certain across formations can tell, in the week of practice, can tell a linebacker, can tell a corner, can tell somebody like, hey, if you have no responsibility now, go get the quarterback. You have a gap now. And then also, before I'll let you jump in, Robert Spears-Jennings also gets some credit for that play as well, because I don't know if this was film study or what, but he is creeping down at the snap. And I don't know, and maybe this is a sense where Kip was going to blitz no matter what, because maybe Robert Spears-Jennings knew that. So maybe Robert Spears-Jennings was like, you know what, there's going to be a blitz coming. I'm going to try to jump this route, because that's the only thing Ty Simpson's going to have, is some sort of quick route. Either way, Robert Spears-Jennings was creeping up, broke on the ball well. I thought he was going to be the one that was going to jump the route for a second, but it was such a poor throw by Simpson that luckily Eli Bowen was right there behind him to make the play. I
think if it's an accurate throw, RSJ picks that off, or at least gets his hands on it, and who knows if he's able to complete the interception. But I think McElroy actually pointed that out on the replay of that, where he said film study says that if Ty Simpson is pressured on the boundary like that, he's going to go to the slant every single time. And it looked like OU knew that. And so, and I also think that was the diagnosis, going back to that Davon Jordan sack in the fourth quarter. I think that was also the case there as well, is that in a situation like that where it's like, we'll get to it. But okay, so pick six. Alabama does get the ball back. They score on this drive. And so was this the drive where it was where Cuevas kind of took over a little? This was the Cuevas drive, wasn't it?
I didn't get this far in my rewatch, but I'm looking at it.
or not, because the little fake stumble fall down play that actually didn't go to Cuevas. That went to a no name freshman tight end. Also, your and whatever, they won the game, so no harm, no foul. But also, like, I'm gonna throw some shame your way for on our midweek show. You called Cuevas a jag, and I that's not correct. He's probably the best tight end they faced this year.
So that was the most they've gone to him, and I stand by my thing. He's a big guy that can kind of move a little bit, but he just happened to get a bunch of targets. So a lot of guys can do what he did. But yeah, I did find that to be funny because he was the one guy in their offense where I was like, I'm not really worried about that guy. And he had a bunch of catches, so sure, whatever. Horton didn't really do anything with the exception of maybe one or two plays, which he's really good. And I mean, Jeremy Bernard's really good too. So yeah, as I was watching, I thought that, of course, the tight end is the guy that's doing things, but I don't know. I just don't think he's very fast. I think he's just a big dude that can catch the ball, which a lot of guys can just catch passes.
Of course, for anybody new listening to the podcast with Lee, if a tight end is not Rob Gronkowski, he is a jag. So that's kind of Lee's standard.
I mean,
there.
like, put Jaron Kanik in that offense, and he's the guy that's catching those balls, and Cuevas not. I think a lot more things are happening because he's a lot more of an athlete than
maybe.
Cuevas.
Maybe. So, all right. Alabama's kind of dinking and dunking their way down the field. We have Ty Simpson. He keeps on some sort of zone read, picks up 9 yards and a first down. And then on 1st and 10, they do their little fake fall down fumble play that worked to perfection. That was that's exactly how you draw it up for them. They go to Edwards, the freshman tight end, for 25 yards. He's wide open. He's streaking down the field wide open. I think it was Omasigo who was probably supposed to follow him, but he takes the bait almost perfectly. He thinks there's a fumble or something, and I didn't. If you would have told me. If you would have asked me what I thought about that play while watching it, I would have said, yeah, no, that wasn't intentional. That was just like Alabama getting lucky. But you rewatch it, and it was obviously intentional because
I was shocked.
You watch Jam Miller. Jam Miller just falls down trying to fake like there was a fumble.
Yes, it's the exact same play that the Detroit Lions ran against the Bears last year. It's the exact same play, and the Lions scored a touchdown on it last season. So you can pull it up. Everyone listening, type in Jared Goff. Fake fall down touchdown, and you'll see it on Twitter. You'll see it. It's the exact same play with the exact same tight end dragging across. The only difference is that Bama did not score on it, and Detroit did. So whenever the announcer, I think McElroy like kind of was onto it, but McDonough was like, "Are you sure? You sure that was on purpose?" Like, yes, that was the play. It's a Ben Johnson play, and Ryan Grubb is he in the NFL last year? Yeah, I think so.
Yes, he was. Seahawks.
He's with Seattle, which, man, Seattle's offense is so like way better now. So yeah, that was a really interesting play, and watching it with the guys here, Brady was like, "Man, Alabama's desperate. Like they're desperate. They're calling some like." And earlier in the game, I think on the Eli Bowen pick 6 drive, they did that the play where Simpson acts like he's going to call timeout or something like that.
That drives me nuts. Because that is like, if you're a defender and you've watched football in the last 10 years, that's so easy to diagnose. It's so effing easy. As soon as he started walking to the sideline, I was like, it's going to be a direct snap. I mean, it is they only gained, I'm pretty sure Alabama only gained 1 yard on the play. And it is what it is. But okay, so Bama has the ball now on OU's 11. Incomplete pass, 2-yard run to set up a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. And this is the Robert Spears-Jennings pick that is negated by a pretty bad PI from Kendall Daniels, and just bad in the sense that just situationally, like you had help over the middle, and you didn't need to do that. But also it is lazy, and I want to like that was pass interference, but I will say that is not called all of the time. Like, especially like it's just a really bad decision from Ty Simpson. It was, and so like I kind of wish they wouldn't have called that. But it was technically PI.
That's the thing is like, who cares if it's not all? It is. It's what it is. So what? Don't be lazy. And that's kind of the downside of having, and Kendall Daniels played a lot in this game. And he was okay, I guess. I mean, I don't really remember a whole lot of him.
He was a lot better in the second half. They started going to him as the middle safety in the 3 safety look. And I think that's what kind of got, you go drive chart. Alabama's offense was not particularly good in the second half of the game. It was almost like a,
Oklahoma was terrific.
It was terrific. It was defensively, the game went very similarly to the Tennessee game, where the first half they were just bleeding yards, giving up a ton of yards. They give up one long drive based off of explosive plays in the second half, and then after that, they're just nails. Everything that Alabama had to scratch and claw for everything that they got after that, and so, but. Anyway, I'm pretty sure Bama scores a couple of plays later. They put the ball at the 2-yard line, a couple of 1-yard runs for Bama, makes the game 10-7. Kendall Daniels, man, you robbed Robert Spears-Jennings of a good safety play interception, where you're reading the eyes based off of the alignment and how the routes are developing. RSJ is like, oh, he's going here, and. Man,
Robert Spears-Jennings,
just don't grab him. Like, you can touch him. Kendall Daniels, you can freaking touch him, man.
Don't get stuck in the mud, man. And he's just not, he's a very athletic player, but he's not, he's not a safety, like, that can play really well in coverage. And I think that was, I can't remember if that was Ryan Williams or if that was Horton.
It was Horton.
But either way.
It was Horton.
Excuse me. Which I like that matchup because Horton's a big bodied type of guy. But either way, yeah. I mean, but it happened. It sucks. That was part of my dislikes, obviously. Robert Spears-Jennings, I asked him, hey, man, please do not bite on some play fake and get beat deep. He didn't. Robert Spears-Jennings had a great game. He played really well. And so I love that. I love whenever he plays really good football, and the safeties did. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that because I've given him a lot of grief last couple games for that. And yeah, he should have had another pick. Should have had back-to-back games with an interception.
All right. OU gets the ball back. This is their first and of 2 3-and-outs that they had in this game. Although it didn't really hurt them very much because Grayson Miller punts to Ryan Williams, and then West of Everest podcast favorite Jaden Hardy makes and I say that ironically, of course, but he makes a massive play here. He punches the ball out from Ryan Williams. Sammy Obusigo recovers. And then this is when I kind of started to believe. I was just like, oh, fumble luck is going OU's way. And like, Jaden Hardy forced that fumble. But when the ball is rolling around, there's a lot of Alabama players around. Then that's where it's just a coin flip of who is going to recover it. And I'm pretty sure OU is able to recover it in the pile, which is they're kind of lucky in that sense, and OU is fortunate there, and then 2 plays later they score.
So let's rewind because as I actually got the game up, and we're gonna try this again. If it doesn't work this time, we won't do it the rest of the game or the rest of the show. I'm gonna try it again. So this, we just talked about Kendall Daniels, and yeah, YouTube TV. That's what I want. Okay, share. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So this is the series where Oklahoma goes 3-and-out and then punts. We were disappointed that Kendall Daniels got called for the PI. He did it. Good call. And but if not, he doesn't commit it. Oklahoma gets a takeaway there. Bama doesn't score. It's still 10-0 or whatever. Well, maybe the whole luck thing, maybe it all evened out, Grant, because remember this play? Oh boy. That should have been a touchdown. That's a pick 6. John Mateer tried to do it a couple times. And so you know what? Oklahoma got away with one there. And then the punt and fumble. So you know what? It all evens out. Like, Alabama got a little bit of fortunate luck with the PI with Kendall Daniels. That didn't need to happen. You got a ton of luck there with the other Justin Jefferson dropping probably a pick 6. So that, whew. But yes, fumble luck happened, and I really like the John Mateer touchdown run. I like that a lot. That was a very nice run.
It's a great run. And that was something because we saw like the Mateer quarterback keeper counter a lot against Tennessee. Didn't really see it at all in this game. We saw it on the touchdown run. I don't remember really seeing it at all sort of throughout the rest of the game. And maybe that's I don't know, maybe that's just a Ben Arbuckle just sort of getting lost in the garbage type of thing and not really wanting to call it. I'm not sure. But I think I think the first play of that was like an 11-yarder to Canick, right? Over the middle.
What was it say? That was where they did like the double reverse pass to pick up like 12 yards, which they got the first down, but
They got the
this
first
is
down,
like,
yeah.
man, that was pretty
So,
funny.
but yeah, great touchdown run from Mateer. He's taking hits. I mean, that he was in prime fumble territory there for sure, with him just like sort of out of control. And you watch like the slow motion replay of it that ESPN kept showing. He did not really have great control of the ball. He did when he started to spin into the end zone, but when he first was hit, the ball security was certainly left a lot to be desired. OU up 17-7 though. And then Alabama comes down, makes it 17-14. And I thought this was very obviously Alabama's best drive of the game here. A 6-play, 78-yard drive in only 2.5 minutes. And they had 3 explosives, I believe, on this drive.
Yeah, and it opened up with that Ryan Williams explosive, which I'm trying to watch replays of because I'd like to see what happened on that play.
Because that was not a good throw. Wasn't a good throw. And if Peyton Bowen was just a tick quicker in getting over, you got to pick that off, man. You got to pick it off because that ball just floated in the air at the end of its trajectory.
Yeah, and now I'm watching it back again, and I do appreciate that Peyton Bowen was going for the pick, and he's like trying to make plays and not the typical like we just going for the big hit and whatnot. Even though the big hit there would have probably been better, but he was behind Ryan Williams. It would have been nice if he could have gotten in front of him, obviously. So I don't mind that as much. Like you see that, you're like, oh, come on, Peyton Bowen, you got to be there to make that play. He's going to make a play. He's playing center field. Oklahoma's kind of starting to feel it with their secondary. They're starting to feel like, we can get some takeaways. I mean, it's just, it didn't work out on that play. So explosive to start it, and yeah, this was a good drive for Alabama. But this is also the drive where the big time miss that Jeremy Bernard happened that you thought it was just pretty normal, but it's
like, well, yeah, it's sure like Alabama left one on the field there, but this is college football, man, and Alabama's offense is not great. It's a good offense. It's not great. They miss stuff. That was like,
yeah, but the issue is Simpson's very accurate and Jeremy Bernard's a really good player and they have good rapport. So it was just very weird to have that happen. So, I mean, it ended up not mattering because they scored on the very next snap, but
it wasn't the next snap. There was a 4-yard run in between them, but then the 25-yarder to Cuevas, which was that's a game where this was something that they definitely saw on tape. It was a weird little, they do their little fake snap count and then they go to change the play. And then that's when OU, they looking at the sideline and then this was intentional. And then they snap it really quickly after that while OU is looking on the sideline and they even run, which is, it's not a trick play, but it's just like, it's a leak play. It's a tight end leak play where he's faking like he's going to block and then he releases and it catches Kobe McKenzie off guard. Cuevas is wide open and he just sort of walks into the end zone. That's one of those things where it's just like, hey, I think it's a smart play by Alabama for sure. But OU's like, that's something that OU, like they need to self-scout and they need to see that like, yeah, they're kind of, especially like, cause I think Tennessee did something very similar a couple of weeks ago and it was just negated by a holding penalty that would have been like a touchdown. So, they got to know that stuff is coming, and if a tight end is in there and blocking, there's a really good chance that he's going to release and try to run some sort of like drag and leak, and that's what happened there. So, 17-14 at that point in time. I think this is kind of the first time you're like, okay, well, geez, they've scored a touchdown in 2 of their last 3 possessions. Even on the pick 6 drive, they were starting to move it a little bit. And you're just kind of like, OU's on skates a little bit here. Like Alabama is kind of humming. But like also part of me while I'm watching it, I'm just like, this is Alabama though. They're really good in the second quarter. They're really good in the first half. And in my head, I was like, you just got to weather the storm. If you can still somehow get to the half leading, then you've weathered their storm and you can definitely still win this thing. And so, see here. OU goes 6 plays, 29 yards in 3 minutes. They punt on the next drive. I'm going to look through. Canick for
So
12.
I'm watching it right now. Yeah, I think this is the play. I think Xavier Robinson gets injured on this series. So one of those first opening runs of the series, this is whenever he is toward the near sideline, and when he gets up and they have a close up shot of him, if you're ever rewatching the game, it looks like he's kind of hanging his left arm, like either he's using his left arm to kind of like favor his groin, like he's pulling at his groin, or he's just kind of hanging his left arm. So I kind of thought it might have been like a weird like shoulder thing. He gets a carry on the next play, the next two plays, and then it's Torrey Blaylock, I think, from there on out until I think maybe we saw Robinson later in the game. So I hope he's fine. I mean, it was good news that he came back in, but the adrenaline was running. But just I think this was actually a pretty important series because Xavier, I mean, I mentioned on the pregame is like they're going to need Torrey Blaylock in this game too. They're going to need more than, and they needed Torrey Blaylock, but he wasn't very effective at all whenever he had to come in because I think Xavier Robinson was banged up.
And
he was in the injury tent.
He was, and it seems like it was actually his knee that he hurt because he came back with a knee brace on.
Okay,
and
well maybe
I was on Twitter, and so who knows? I have no idea. It seems like Xavier Robinson is really good, but Xavier Robinson also appears to be made of glass, and so he's your least favorite type of football player. Just can't stay healthy. And that's something to monitor going forward going if Xavier Robinson is like really banged up, OU only has one running back right now. They only have a single running back, and Torrey Blaylock has not looked good since the South Carolina game. He doesn't even look playable, to be honest with you, since the South Carolina game.
All right, well, hey, let's all start to mentally prepare ourselves. I mean, Jade not time again.
May have to be.
I'm gonna keep banging the drum for Taylor Tatum. Like again, he was out, and like he's just not playing. Like he's the one guy we haven't seen any of this season, and I think he's got a lot of talent. It's just I guess maybe he's just hurt, or maybe they just don't trust him, or whatever. I mean, he had fumbling issues last year. I still would like to see him in a different offense that's not coordinated by Seth Luttrell. And running behind an offensive line that's starting to feel themselves a little bit, getting more of a groove. I know the offense was not that great yesterday, but when Xavier Robinson was in there and they're running the ball, he was getting positive yardage. I mean, I think we'll see in some of the 3-word reviews, people notice. I mean, he falls forward all the time. I mean, he's kind of doing what Javonte Barnes used to. That was like his one thing that Javonte could do well.
But he's way
always
better
pick up a couple of yards. Right. Yeah.
Way better at it. Whereas Javonte Barnes was pretty good at not being tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Xavier Robinson gets 2 yards, is hit, is whacked, and then you're just like, oh wow, he just got an extra 2 yards after he just got contacted. And that happened 3 or 4 times in this game where he's like hit at the line of scrimmage and they're still able to pick up 3 or 4 yards on the play, which I thought is big. And that's why you just cross your fingers that Xavier Robinson is okay and he's close to 100% for their next game. So, all right, Alabama. This is their last drive of the first half. This is their missed field goal drive. Where
hold on, real quick. The previous series again for OU, that was a series where Mateer, the defensive lineman, went across his face mask, and obviously it looks like a face mask, but then you look at the rule book, and the rules actually say you have to grasp the face mask and twist it, and that doesn't happen on this play. It just the guy inadvertently goes across it. And so it's one of those things like, could there have been a flag thrown? Yes. Like we've seen that called before. And could they have called it face mask? Yes. But they didn't throw it. And by the rule, it's not a face mask. So it's just unlucky. It sucks. Sorry. Like that doesn't bother me. Like when that stuff kind of happens. And I didn't know that. Honestly, like I looked it up. I was like, nope, they got to grasp it. I know some people have said, oh, it should be like illegal hands of the face or roughing the passer. It's like, well, no, you look at the rule book. I couldn't really find illegal hands to the face in the rule book. It's not really defined. And then roughing the passer, if you read that, it doesn't really have, like, unless you want to say that the guy's hand was on the face mask continuous, whatever that means. What does continuous mean? I don't know, like 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. It's a judgment call. So anyways, just wanted to acknowledge that yeah, a flag could have been thrown and it probably would have been able to been upheld, but even the official, the Matt Austin guy on the broadcast, which I'm not a big fan of, he was like,
Matt Austin's
not a penalty.
A clown. I don't care what he says. He's a clown.
See, but he's always been correct though with his like assessments. It's just he's not very good at explaining it, which is his job. But yeah, that could have
He
been big though.
wasn't.
If they would have called the face mask, they could have gotten points on that drive, and Oklahoma could have potentially expanded their lead. Anyways, back to
he wasn't correct on the hideout tactic play, but that's a thing for another day.
Okay. Well, all right.
Yeah.
Go back to our old shows and listen to that if you want to hear that discussion.
Yeah,
again.
that is what it is. So, next drive is the missed field goal drive for Alabama. Honestly, I'll give credit to Oklahoma on this drive for not allowing a massive explosive play, thus like allowing them to start. Because once it got near midfield and they had already kind of bled a lot of the clock, it turned from let's score a touchdown to take the lead to Alabama was playing for a field goal, and I haven't been like when I go back and rewatch Alabama games, I'm not like super plugged into their kicking woes and whatnot. But if one of the narratives coming into this game was that Alabama has sort of struggled in the kicking game this season, I'm going to believe it when people say that. And as soon as Alabama is playing for a field goal, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. You're telling me that this team has struggled to kick field goals, and you've shifted from trying to score a touchdown to, okay, we need to protect the ball and just play for a field goal here. I'm just like, sweet. This is great. This is great news for Oklahoma. And it is great. It is great. It's great to see a college kicker be a college kicker, while OU's kicker is just nails and is awesome.
So
that's new. That's a totally new thing.
I know.
Totally new thing for this program.
I was disappointed at myself that that's part of the pre-game breakdown that I had in my notes, but I forgot to mention is that their kicker's pretty suspect. He came in 11 of 16, and I know that Taylor Wein got a little bit of a piece of that ball. I don't think it mattered. That ball was gone from the kick.
I mean, it was
a duck.
And it was like, you can. Sure, it was a high snap and everything, and you can say that threw off the timing. Watching slow-mo, it didn't. The holder did a good job of getting it down.
Yeah.
It was all on time.
Getting mad at the holder.
Yeah,
and that's the center.
That's how I knew.
Snapper.
It was just like when I saw him like yelling at the holder, I was like, oh, I hope they run him out for another kick in this game because he will not make it. And that guy, he's totally in his own head, and so
I was hoping he was going to miss that extra point later in the game, but he didn't. But yeah, there was no chance they're going to run him out there unless they absolutely had to. I mean, granted, at the end of the game, we're not there yet. I mean, that was setting up for a potential, which would have been very heartbreaking if that bad kicker would have beat OU. And OU's kicker is really good, but luckily it never came to that.
Absolutely. So, all right, OU gets the ball to start the third quarter. They do score on this drive. Only pick up 41 yards, take up about 4.5 minutes off the clock. I'm kind of looking through here. Oh yeah, very, very first play of this drive is the jet sweep to Satania for 21. Man, I gotta tell you, he breaks one tackle and he scores on that play. And I would have been so sweet if he would have scored. He needed to break one tackle and he scores. But he couldn't. And so, but yeah, he picks up 28 yards their first two snaps of this drive, and that already just puts them into Alabama territory, and you're just kind of like, you don't screw this up, and you got Sandell is ready to go. You're going to get points out of this. So it's 21 yards to Tanya, 7 yards Xavier Robinson rush. And then there's a Mateer scramble for 8 yards that is called back for a holding. I thought that was a weak call. I thought that was that's pretty soft holding call that they did not need to throw.
The thing is, though, they don't throw, I don't think, if the play doesn't go that way. I think because Mateer ran outside of it. But it ended up not mattering because, and this is one of my few likes for the offense on this series was whenever John Mateer hit Satania on 3rd and 13 for 21 yards on the far sideline where Mateer avoided a sack and then threw a dot right to Satania. That was great. That was one of his best plays of the day.
Yeah, that was I was pretty fired up on that one. But then, I'm gonna harp on it. I didn't touch on it when we were on one of their drives in the first half. The whole and like I was one like you got to throw bubble screens against Tennessee. That was my big thing, and we only saw one of them. They threw it to Jermichael Carter. When I was just like, just throw 4 or 5 bubble screens to Jaron Kanik. Like that's who you want on bubble screens because of his ability to break out of arm tackles. the bubble screen to Satania, they need to burn it. Like I think you said, you had a tweet during the game where you're just like, yeah, Ben Arbuckle needs to take his red pen and and circle that to not call that. Like, they just
Well, that's not the bubble screen. That's
I know you were doing the middle screen.
There's a different one.
It was the middle screen. It was the one where they got the where they got
grounding.
Intentional grounding. Thank you. But yeah, they just this little bubble screen out to Satania on the edge. Mateer can't throw it, and they can't block it. They just need to burn it. That cannot be in their playbook anymore, because you have a 21-yarder Satania, and then that just puts you that puts you behind the chains later in this drive. So, see here, sacked for a loss of 2 yards. 2nd and 13. Back to Jamarca Cardo for 7. And then Sandell comes out for a 52-yard field goal, which he just, honestly, man, just nothing but net. He freaking smoked it right down the middle.
I know.
It was like, it's so great. It's like, because in my head, I was like, I expected him to miss it. I was just like,
that's the thing is, he was so good against Tennessee. I'm with you. It's like, is he going to be able to do this again? And then he just comes up, like you said, nothing but net. I mean, just easy.
And like, I'm like, and whatever, jinxes don't exist. This is not a thing. Like, nobody's, he's the best kicker in the country. They got the best kicker in the country. He is just absolute nails and great. I'm not a huge, if you've listened, this is the 9th season of this podcast. If you listen to it, I'm team never kick, huck it deep, score touchdowns, and whatever. You are who you are. And I think OU very, very much at this point in time is calling games and playing games like they have a kicker who is automatic from 50+ yards. I think that's pretty clear at this point. And
yeah,
I wish they wouldn't do that. I wish they would still always be like, yeah, no, let's score a touchdown. But you are who you are.
So yeah, they still can't rely on it. He's been great, but it's just not. I don't think it's sustainable until it is. So, I mean, Venables has already won 2 back-to-back games that we didn't see that coming. So maybe this is a season of wow. Also, just real quick, maybe, again, we've mentioned this. I mentioned this in the offseason. Maybe it's an every other year thing. The sample size is very small, but year 2 for Venables, they won 10 games. This is year 4 now. They're on pace to win. I mean, they can still win 10 games regular season. We'll see what happens. Here's a random, like, inside, like, in-depth kind of thing that may not matter at all, but I was thinking about this yesterday. And honestly, across the nation, the weather was beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful yesterday. It was beautiful in Oklahoma. I don't know what it was in Minnesota. I'm guessing it was probably pretty nice. The weather in Tuscaloosa looked like it was probably like in the 70s. I mean, it was perfect. And so it's nice that Oklahoma is in this new conference where it's a lot of southern teams. And like Oklahoma was like kind of far north compared to a lot of them. And granted, OU is now like got 2 home games where the weather can be kind of bad in November, but the weather outlook for next week against Missouri, it looks pretty good. And then I think it's far away, but even against LSU, that weekend could be good. I'm glad that weather is not really affecting any of this stuff for a kicker, because then that's allowing Sandell obviously to show off all of his skills. So took a long way to get to the point of like, I'm glad the weather's nice and it's allowing Sandell to be even better.
All right, Alabama does score on the next drive to go up 21-20. This is a drive that is spurred on by 3 explosives. There's a 28-yarder Daniel Hill run, which I'm be honest with you, rewatch it. That play really frustrates me. That's on Brent Venables. That run right there. They're doing the weird where they overloaded the one side, thus making just an extreme numbers advantage for Alabama on that side. And so this is something that I want that really sticks in my craw a little bit. You have OU overloading that side with defensive linemen because I'm pretty sure Alabama had 2, or they had 1 or 2 tight ends on that side. But Daniel Hill is to the left of Ty Simpson. So if they run the ball, it's going to be into that gap. And so I just really wish they wouldn't have overloaded that side, because that is what made that run. That it was just a full-on numbers advantage. Don't give like a team that has struggled to run the ball this season that clear of a look to check to a run, and you're just inviting them to do it. And so, and Daniel Hill picks up 28 yards. That was on 2nd and long, man. And you you give them free yards with your defensive alignment there. And I thought that was one of the very few moments in this game where it was just like, yeah, OU, they made a pretty big mistake there with their pre-snap alignment.
See, this is the part of the game where I thought it was going to start going south for OU, because this was the first possession of the second half for Alabama after they had done a lot, save from their first 3 possessions of the first half. And so what was the big thing is in the pregame podcast, hey, don't give up the explosive run like Oklahoma did against Texas that got Texas kind of going, because Texas couldn't really run the ball very well. And then Wisner had that, 30, 35-yard run, whatever it was, that really kind of opened things up. And so when Alabama got that on the 28-yard run there, after they had already been moving the ball pretty well, and then, of course, they end up capping it with a touchdown that drive, I thought, okay, well, this is not looking good for Oklahoma, because Alabama was already starting to feel it. They had solved Oklahoma's secondary, and I like Simpson in the offense more than you do, but I thought it was kind of going in the wrong direction, especially with Oklahoma's offense not looking that good. So this was a part where I was like, I don't love this, and then especially with the run, and then the drive continued, and Alabama was able to score and take the lead.
Yep. So after that 28-yard run, there's a Daniel Hill run that's stuffed at the line of scrimmage for no gain. And then a 20-yarder to Cuevas. That was the one that was a leak out into the flat where he hopped over Reggie Powers. And you saying that he's that was a great play by Cuevas. That was a really athletic play, him hopping over Reggie Powers like that. Reggie Powers, you got to wrap up. You got to have a better. You can't just go. But also, this is football in 2025. That's kind of Reggie Powers' bit. And I thought that was a good play by Cuevas.
And you got to go with the legs. He's a big dude.
He's a big dude.
That's
yeah.
a nice play.
Very, very next snap is the 26-yarder to Isaiah Horton that is out at the OU 1. Alabama goes really, really fast to snap it early to prevent a replay review. Lee, because Isaiah Horton did not catch that ball. It should have been an incomplete pass. He double catches it.
They show a replay of it or something?
Yeah, they show a replay of it when they come. So they go to commercial and they show the sideline angle of it. And Isaiah Horton, he double catches it, and when he gets possession, his right foot is out of bounds. And Alabama went really, really fast. They had an inkling that maybe that wasn't as clean of a catch as it looked like, and they get a playoff. I mean, they got a playoff within like 10 seconds of that pass being complete. And so that's one of those things. Like and it was close. Like, I'm not saying like it was egregious or anything like that. And I'm team, like, if it's really, really close like that, like, what are we doing with replay? Like, and so, like, I'm not going to say that, oh, you got screwed on that, but it would have been really, really nice if they would have been like, oh, hold on a second. Let's take a look at this. Cause I think it probably would have been overturned, as an incomplete pass if they would have reviewed it. But also Alabama they're rumbling and stumbling down the field at that point in time, and who knows what happens there. But Alabama does score 2 plays later. They go up 21-20. Lee, those would be Alabama's last points of the game. And man, I'm looking at the drive chart. From that point on, OU's defense was spectacular in this game. Was so freaking good when they absolutely had to have it.
I just went back. I think they showed one angle pretty good. I think he caught it. I don't think that would have been overturned. That was very quick, and he brought it in. So I think you're the only eagle eye person here that
you see that he double caught it, right?
Define double caught.
Well, as in when the ball first hits his hands, he bobbles it.
All right, you know what? We have video. So, like, let's have the viewers decide here. Let's This is the only angle I can tell, because this is before commercial break. They came back from commercial and they showed like an all 22 angle of it, so you couldn't really see it. So here we go. Here's the throw.
Bobble.
I mean, that'd be tough to overturn. Of course, I can only go back 15 seconds, but
you're big. This is why we have replay, so you can see just like down to the minute second of everything.
No, I know. But why didn't they show more replay angles of this? Because typically, if it's close like that, they're going to show a lot more. I mean,
Bobble?
I think he's
bobble. He's bobbling it there. He did not have it until he was out of bounds.
Why didn't they show more? They should have shown more replays of it if they were so.
Because it was over. There's no reason to.
It's over. It's over. The ball's gone. Who cares? It's over.
And also,
Yeah, I know.
it
We're
was
kind of
super
going.
close. It was super close to the point of like, sure, it is what it is. Like, that's where I'm just like, kind of like, yeah, whatever. I don't feel super strongly about it. But I think if they would have taken a look at that, I think they would have seen that
I
he
would
did
have
not
liked to
catch it
see
until he
them
was out of
slow it
bounds.
down and show more replays of. Sure. How about this? You mentioned the rest of the game. The defense was good. I kind of got like you mentioned the Daniel Hill run. One of my likes, obviously, is Oklahoma's rush defense. Outside of that play, I mean, the rush defense was terrific. And, I mean, even with that play, I mean, Oklahoma held Alabama to 2.4 yards per carry in the game on 33 carries, which is really good. Take away that explosive run by Hill, it was at 1.6. That was one of the keys to this game was to Oklahoma keep being really good at stopping the run against this team that can't run it. And Oklahoma did. So that I really like that quite a bit.
Sure.
And
OU gets the ball back. If there's one thing on this next drive that I have to, other than back-to-back Jermichael Carter catches, which is nice.
Oh, yeah,
nice
that's another one. That's one of my likes for offense, for sure.
Nice to see Carter kind of come free in the middle of the field there and Mateer stay in the pocket, find him, good throw. Then he hits Carter again on the corner for 7 yards. After this next sequence is where they really missed a healthy Xavier Robinson on this series here, because it's 2nd and 3. They give it to Blaylock for only a yard, and this is where Blaylock, he just looks utterly juiceless, like he's just got nothing. And then on 3rd and 2, I gotta say, this was by far the worst play call of the game for Oklahoma. Just a genuinely horrible play call. They are running a little pitch to Torrey Blaylock in the boundary, and Alabama is overloaded to that side. And so it was a genuinely heinous play call where it's just like, are you even trying to win the game with that play call?
And even if somehow it would have worked, it wouldn't have counted because Oklahoma lined up incorrectly and got flagged.
Jermichael Carter wasn't close enough to the line of scrimmage. So we see this in football every year. Offensive coordinators trying to run cute crap like that to the boundary on 3rd and short. It's always a terrible idea. Always. It's like never worked. And so just a horrible play call. I don't think there's really anything else to say other than that.
Yeah, I know. I think offensive coaches also like a thing, and this is kind of weird. I don't really get this, but I remember in high school, this was a thing where sometimes certain plays will be called, whether it's boundary or the field side. Offensive coordinators will want to call certain plays that go towards your home sideline. So it's like your friendly sideline. That's a thing. But in this play, they were going towards the Alabama sideline. So it's not even like they were like, oh, I know we're going to the boundary, but we want to, for some reason, make it because like there's a friendly sideline here. I don't know.
That's
the thing about play call.
That's a thing about Lincoln Riley that was always great. He really cared about where the ball was, on which hash it was on. And I mean, there's a reason he's the best offensive guy in the game for a reason. So Alabama goes 3 and out after that, though. And this is where OU's defense just starts to really bow their neck and say, no, not today. So they go 3 and out. I think there was like a little 4-yard pass to Daniel Hill in the flat where PJ Adebawore was coming clean there at the edge. If they would have forced Simpson to just hold it for like one more second, Adebawore would have blown him up. And then there was a run that was sort of stuffed, and then on 3rd and 3, Ty Simpson pass incomplete over the middle of Jeremy Bernard, I thought OU did a good job of covering it well. It was a situation where it would have taken a perfect throw by Ty Simpson to complete that to Bernard over the middle. There's a lot of traffic over the middle. OU gets him off the field. Do you have any thoughts on that drive?
Yeah, I'm actually watching it right now. This is a play where Oklahoma got very fortunate that Ty Simpson kind of locked on to his favorite target. Granted, he's getting a ton of cushion, and so I don't even know why Jeremy Bernard ran a slant. He should just ran a quick little 3-4 yard stop route, pitch and catch. But
OU was giving him a lot of free yards on that.
So much cushion.
Alignment.
I mean, your boy Cuevas, the best tight end in the country, he ran a little 5-yard out route wide open. But for whatever reason, in this play, Simpson really wanted to go to Bernard. And that was like one of the worst places to go. I mean, And credit to Michael Boganowski. He was over the top playing safety. He broke on the ball pretty well to make that throw a little bit tighter. Hey, that might be the first time all season long I've credited Michael Boganowski in coverage because he broke on the ball very nicely and got off the field 3 and out. Well done.
This next drive, this is OU's second 3 and out of the game. And I don't really have much to say here. This is we see Xavier Robinson come back. He gets a carry on the first play for 1 yard. He didn't look particularly healthy to me on that carry. Let's see here, and then a incomplete pass to Satania. Then on 3rd and 9, they go to Jermichael Carter. They throw a flag. Initially, I thought it was going to be a hold on Alabama in the secondary on Carter, but they call a chop block. And I went back and watched this. That was not correct. It was a bad call. They call it on Eddie Pierre-Louis and Jake Mikla. And what I will say is that I can understand why someone would think that it was a chop block, but what actually happened was Jake Mikla, the guy that he was engaged with, just shed him, and Mikla went to his knee, like he was thrown down on his knees by the Alabama defensive lineman, right as the Alabama guy just ran into Mikla. That was not a chop block. Just wasn't. It didn't matter. They declined it, and OU punted. But I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. That was just like, it's
okay.
Come on.
I have no thoughts on that. Don't remember.
And they also got the numbers wrong, so that just tells you that they didn't have any idea what was going on. So,
yeah. All right, we gotta pick it up here. We're going. I mean, let's really. What happened the rest of the game? Taylor Wein got the big sack fumble. That was huge. That awesome. I mean, no R. Mason Thomas. By the way, Jaden Jackson did play a lot more than I thought so. I didn't think I saw him until the second half. He wasn't in the first half. He was playing a little bit in the first half. So he played probably not his full complement of snaps, I would imagine.
He didn't look healthy to me, which means he got hurt in practice in the bye week, which is just like, it's really frustrating. Yeah. It's really frustrating. Like, why are people getting hurt in practice right now? So that's
well, granted. I mean, they practice a lot more than they play. So, I mean, I guess.
That's fair.
But Taylor Wein's sack was terrific. I mean, how about that, Grant? I mean, 2 games in a row now where, all year, like, man, where's the havoc? Like, all this havoc and 2 games in a row now, Oklahoma's got a sack on a quarterback that has dislodged the football. And Oklahoma has recovered that fumble. It's like, oh, this is what that looks like. This is great.
It's big time, man. It's big time.
And it was so cool to see the ball just eject from Simpson's hand like that.
It just exploded out of his. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So
that was awesome.
Great. Yeah. Just a great play by Taylor Wein, who I thought was excellent, was just really, really good. Again, like, and I said, I can't remember after which game it was where I think it was maybe after the South Carolina game, but I was like, you know what? I think that dude's a future All-American at OU. He's terrific. He's really good. And they absolutely needed it in this game. Absolutely needed it in this game. OU's able to get a field goal out of that. Again, I'm just like, gosh, you got to freaking score a touchdown after that. But
yeah. But I mean, how about that? I mean, the points off turnovers, right? How many points off turnovers? Was it 17? They scored off every single turnover or takeaway.
Yes.
The pick six, the fumble, the punt return fumble. They got Mateer's touchdown, and then the field goal, the eventual game-winning field goal off. I mean, it's simple, but that is the ball game right there.
And there's a 15-yard pass interference on Satania that aids this drive. It puts OU first and goal. That was one of the instances where Mateer had a lot of room to run if he just would have ran. But also, they get 15 yards on the PI. But if Mateer runs, he might score. Like, he had a lot of room, and nobody was spying him. So, but no harm, no foul. And then 3 straight runs. 3 straight runs in the on the goal-to-go situation. The third down one to Mateer, it's clearly a QB draw RPO where I think he may have had Giovanni Gibson back there, but also Giovanni Gibson's got to do a better job of finding more green grass whenever when Mateer escapes like that and he's kind of out in the open field. But yeah, Sandell hits the field goal. He takes a 23-21 lead, and the game is officially on the defense. If the defense can bow their neck, they're going to win the game. And do you have any thoughts on the drive after the Taylor Wein strip sack?
No, I really just have nothing until really the end. There was a I think we already went over it, but there was I did like Giovanni Gibson did have a really important third down pickup where Mateer hit him for like 15 yards. I think that was in the third quarter though, so I think we've already probably gone past that. I can't remember exactly what series that was, but really, I mean, to me, it's the next important cool play was Davon Jordan. I think you mentioned Davon Jordan earlier in the show. That was great, and I mean corner blitz. Just he goes right through Daniel Hill on third down to sack Ty Simpson. That was awesome. And it's good to see that all the talk we heard about Davon Jordan in the summertime, and like we had seen him play sparingly up until really the Tennessee game, and it was not very good. It was just like, what is this guy out there for? And now he's put back-to-back games where he's been impactful, even though it was not I mean, we really were excited about the Tennessee series, and then boom, a big sack on third down to turn over Alabama or to force them to punt. So that's another great sign that there's some development there for Davon Jordan. I love that.
Yeah. And I want to point out that after Alabama goes up 21-20 in this game, their next 3 drives, Lee, 9 plays, 15 yards.
It's awesome.
That is awesome. So OU gets the ball back. This is a frustrating drive because they get the ball back up 23-21. They go down and score a touchdown. The game's over. Game is over with Alabama, going against that defense having to score twice. And this is where mistakes kind of cost them on this drive. And
this was the drive with the Giovanni Gibson third down conversion, by the way. So I was wrong. It was in the fourth quarter.
Yes, it was. So they have it 3rd and 2. Deep in Alabama territory. Not really deep, I suppose. It was 3rd and 3 at the Alabama 33. So they're in field goal range for Sandell. And then there's the Eddie Pierre-Louis false start. And then the next one is the Mateer intentional grounding, which was the right call. And but again, burn that play. That's a bad play. They don't.
It hasn't worked this year.
No, it
hasn't. I think maybe the most they've gained is maybe like 8 yards on it or something like that. And it's always there's just too many bodies in there. I mean, this was the play that Oklahoma got fortunate was not a touchdown for Auburn in the Auburn game, where the correct call was made that it was incomplete pass and not a fumble. That was that play. There's a lot of bodies around. There's just too many things that can go wrong on that play. And I've never really seen an inside middle screen ran the way they run it. It just seems like there's way too much going on every single time. And that was the same thing happened here. Like there was just too much going on, and obviously Mateer burned it because Satania is supposed to be in that vicinity, but it was the right call. Like he wasn't there yet, and the penalty and then the grounding takes him out of field goal range, which I'm sure you're getting to.
Yeah, well, it takes him out of field goal range, but then Grayson Miller comes up big, pins them at the 6-yard line, and then that sets the stage for Alabama's final drive. And I got to tell you, Lee, Alabama is just their complete lack of urgency on this drive was shocking, to be honest with you. I'm happy that it happened because after, it took them to pick up their first down, took up like 2.5 minutes from the play clock. And then it just turned out to be, it's like, okay, no, Alabama is trying to manage this like this is the last drive of the game. And that was stupid. They got the ball with like 7.5 minutes to go. And I just, them constantly just letting the play clock get down when they were not in a hurry. They didn't run any sort of hurry up. That's bad.
That's what they do.
They should have been in much more hurry up in this game, and they weren't. And their pace played right into the hands of Oklahoma this game. Because Alabama's scared of OU's offense going down and scoring if Bama goes and scores quickly? What?
Tate Sandell, man.
Your boy Kalen DeBoer. It's like, you like him, whatever. This was managed horribly by Alabama. They managed this very poorly.
Yeah, probably because it got to the point where they were basically playing for a field goal, as you acknowledged earlier. And with that kicker, that's not a good place to be in. So yeah, they they definitely want it back. But it's weird. It turned into like it got to the point where it's like, oh, they're trying to play keep away. But then again, to me, it's like this is what they do, and they've been in control of games for the most part all season long. Like they've had the lead. One of the few times they didn't have the lead here, and so that's what they're kind of just doing what they're comfortable doing, I think. And Oklahoma got off the field, and I mean, the fourth down. I mean, really, before the fourth down play, Kip Lewis gets another like yay Kip for his big sack.
Just a massive play. That's just a huge play. Like in a game that had a handful of massive defensive plays, I just that completely changed the trajectory of that entire drive. That puts Alabama, which I mean, it says it's sort of surprising to hear me say it out loud, but Alabama struggled to throw the ball deep downfield in this game. They were not getting a whole lot of like chunk yardage that OU wasn't just letting them have. And that puts them way behind the chains. And you said they had no chance. Like the very next play, the 2nd and 21, you have Ty Simpson. He's short on the pass to Isaiah Horton. And that's when I say about like how I don't think Ty Simpson is as good as people say he is. I will show them that play right there. He does not have like a gun. He doesn't have a strong arm.
No,
make that throw.
His arm is nothing. His arm is nothing special. All I'm saying is that he is very good at operating in that offense.
He's good at playing the position. He's good at playing the position. And he is limited physically.
He's not a guy where I would be like really excited if my team drafted him in the NFL. Like that, but I think in this scheme, he's really smart. He's a coach's kid, but I do think Oklahoma's defense gets credit for his inaccuracies. He was rattled. He was off in that game. Granted, look at the numbers. He's had other games this year where he's been more off than in that game as far as completion percentage goes. But I mean, he missed more throws in this game than I would have imagined him missing. And so I think Oklahoma gets credit for that.
I agree. And so on 3rd and 21, they got a 15-yarder to Horton again. That's just sort of, again, that's like their bread and butter play. They get there. And so 4th and 6. And then, I don't know. Thank you, Ty Simpson, on the 4th and 6 play. It felt like he had some time in the pocket, but I think he locked on to Ryan Williams, and he was like, this is who I'm going to. And that's I mean, he's trying to make a throw on the opposite hash and you would tell me on 4th and 6 that Ty Simpson is going to lock on to a guy and try to make a throw on the opposite hash one-on-one on just like a little 7-yard out. I'd take that all day long.
Yeah, I mean, he made the right read. I was calling it out before the snap even happened because it was a classic example. Ryan Williams is going to run a 5-6 yard out route to get the first down. They're going to clear out the corner, and it's a play you see all the time. And Alabama's smart at trying to create open receivers. And so I'd like to think that Peyton Bowen was smart enough to understand down and distance, formation, film study, and I'd like to think that Peyton Bowen made a nice play there because if you see when Ryan Williams starts out of his break, Peyton Bowen stops chopping. He starts breaking up on the ball there, and it was not a good throw. It was not a good throw. A better throw may have done it, but either way, Peyton Bowen may have broken up anyways. So I think he made the right read. I think that's the obvious read, and I think Peyton Bowen might have knew it. And so that was really awesome to see. The whole game ended on what looked to me to be a really smart, good defensive back play, aided bit by a bad throw. Great. Oklahoma W.
Dub. Good win. Great win. You go on the road and like I'm Alabama's not as good as people were saying that they were going into that game. But I think you saw it. I think you saw Alabama in a really, really tight game. I think you saw what had been going well for them during this 8-game winning streak finally sort of turned on them in this game. Lee, I'm a big SP plus guy. I like the win expectancy thing just as like sort of an interesting thing. OU, 4.8% win expectancy in this game. But that's what's going to happen when you win it.
That's dumb.
Why is that dumb?
Because Oklahoma was leading for a large portion of this game, and the defense was doing a lot of good things. Like that's
the whole idea of that, Lee, is that it has every single college football game ever played in a database, and he just puts the box score into that database, and it spits out a number that says, with that box score compared to all of college football history, OU would have had a 4.8% chance to win the game historically.
Okay. Well, if you put stock into that stuff, I just don't find that to be very interesting. It's similar to the ESPN win expectancy stuff.
It's not at all. It's not the same thing. It isn't the same thing. And I came on here saying that Alabama coming into this game had 3 games this season where they were under a 30% win expectancy. And that says that they're not as good as people say that they are, or at the very least, they have an opportunity to throw out kind of like a clunker. Like they're not nowhere near as sharp as people are saying that they were. And I think you saw it there. I think a lot of the stuff that had been going right for them did not go right for them in this game, and they were due. They were due, and OU, with the turnovers and the way that their defense has been just a havoc creator this season, they have been due to get some turnover luck, and they did.
In the first half, Alabama on offense, 287 yards of total offense, 6.3 yards per play, had the ball effectively 2-1 time of possession. Exactly what they wanted. Went into the locker room trailing. Second half, Alabama, 132 yards of total offense, averaged only 4.2 yards per play. Time of possession was split evenly 15 to 15 minutes. And my final like of this game that I wanted to point out is that was my big key. And Alabama, I told, like, nobody talked about how Alabama controls the clock. That's their game. They want to play keep away, and they did. Alabama won the time of possession battle 34-30 to 25-30, which would, if you'd have told me that on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I said Oklahoma lose the football game. It's the first time all season Alabama has won the time of possession battle and lost. So they dominated it against Georgia. They dominated it against Vanderbilt and Missouri. They didn't dominate against Tennessee, but they won it against Tennessee. First time all year they've won the time of possession battle, and they have lost a game. So, I mean, yeah, I guess that plays into what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, everything kind of went right for Oklahoma, and now the Sooners have to use this momentum. Last I saw, I think they're an 8.5-point favorite right now over Missouri. We'll see where that line goes. By the way, we'll do. I apologize. We're going to do 3-word reviews in our midweek show. We'll do them later to talk about that because we're going longer than we thought. Exciting. Now 8-2, 10-2, still within, and the playoff still within reach. And let's see how Oklahoma now responds to even more success and more expectations.
Because yeah, that's been that was the bit 2 seasons ago after they did not respond to success well after starting 7-0. You now know that all you got to do, it doesn't matter how it happens. You know for sure that if you're in the win column these next 2 games at home, that you're playing a postseason game. A really good chance you're playing a postseason game at home. And we'll see how they come out. They cannot rest on their laurels against a Missouri team that is playing with their 3rd-string quarterback, but they played well offensively yesterday against Mississippi State. And Mississippi State doesn't have a very good defense, but I do think this is going to be a Missouri offense that is a lot different than what they've seen so far this season. A team that is basically just like a full-on zone running team, and that's all that they do. And so it'll be interesting to see if that's something that OU struggles with. Ahmad Hardy, by far the best running back they faced this year, like not even close. And so we'll see what happens. It's going to be a challenge. I'm not one of these guys who's going to come in and be like, yeah, I expect OU to assert themselves. I expect 2 butt clinchers at home.
Yeah, you'll hear about this all week. The interesting matchup in this is it's what Missouri does really well offensively against what Oklahoma does really well defensively. And so it's they're 2 of their best strengths going against each other. Who's going to win out? I'd like to think that Oklahoma can win out because in the past, in the history of just of football, when you got these like really good running backs and good rushing teams and they go up against like really good defenses that can stop the run, these backs get slowed up. And they'll get their 1 or 2 here and there because they're good players, but look like Ashton Genty against Penn State last year in the playoffs. It's like, you get bottled up. That's like the one thing they do well. Those old like Leonard Fournette LSU teams against Alabama, they could never run the ball against Alabama. You could never do anything against Bama. So if Oklahoma's defense is as good as they think they are, and there's good stopping the run against Ahmad Hardy and this Missouri offense, which a lot of points against Mississippi State, but it was all running the ball, man. 326 yards rushing against Mississippi State. Just that's power football, and that's overpowering you. And Oklahoma and the culture and Brent Venables wants to be able to give that right back. So, but yeah, we'll have plenty of time to talk about that in the middle of the week.
Lot of ice baths for Jaden Jackson this week. Let's get him at least, because he did. I saw him more in the second half than I did in the first half. And I saw like some video of him pregame. He's not healthy, so they gotta get him healthy. This is another game where I think you go ahead and sit R. Mason Thomas again. Hopefully have him for probably sit him for the last 2 games of the season. Hopeful to have him back potentially for a playoff game. So what a great win. Great win, man.
Great win. Okay. Congrats, everyone. Hey, if you went to the game, let us know. Hope you enjoyed it. What a fun one to be at. 2 home game, 11 a.m., baby, against Missouri. And, man, even though it's with the 11 a.m. kick, the atmosphere, I bet, next Saturday is going to be pretty electric coming after that game, knowing that Oklahoma's got everything in front of them still. Hopefully, the team is ready. And I promise you the crowd will be ready. The fans will be ready. I know everyone was talking about the Ole Miss game being super loud. I promise you this game will also be super loud if Oklahoma gives them reason to be loud. It'll be the same type of sound for an 11 a.m. kick. Looking forward to it. Grant, any final thoughts?
I do not.
All right, guys. We'll be back midweek to talk about OU, Missouri, and also read your 3-word reviews from the crazy win over Alabama. Until then, for Grant, I am Lee. This is West of Everest. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the show. And if you want to help us spread the word, please leave us a 5-star review. And also, tell all of your friends who are OU fans about West of Everest. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud.